I'm using that.
Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. I am joined today by Geoff Blanchard, my good friend, Down Under. He's the under part of Down Over.
Yes.
We will get it right. Anyway, I'm Rick Zanotti, and we have a special guest today. We've got Gina Schreck with us. She'll be joining us in a moment. Here we go. And we are back, and in that center position of power, we've got Gina Schreck. How you doing, Gina? You have to be part of our environment here.
Yeah, I do. I feel like I should be surfing or something with the music. I love it.
Oh, that's funny. So how have you been?
Good. So good to be joining you two. I don't know if I'm in the middle on the camera, but
you're pretty close. You're about right.
Yeah, squashed in the middle.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch. I'm Alice.
Well, you've got some things. Now, last time you were here, you were going to go to the Himalayas and climb Everest. Did that ever happen?
No, it did not.
No.
We were training for it, and then I got this wild hair of starting a co-working space. And that became my Everest.
That saved your life.
Yeah, probably.
Or your hip.
Yeah, definitely saved my hip. I finally started chasing this dream that I've had for 7 years. I mean, for 7 years I've talked about I'd love to open a co-working space. Mm-hmm. I saw one in Indianapolis 7 years ago and I always wanted to do it. And then finally, for some reason, I don't even know if something prompted it last year, but I just said, I'm going to contact a broker and start looking at buildings. Then we got down the path of how much money this is going to take to do. And Everest kind of went away and Kirk decided to start doing Krav Maga. And and that was his challenge. So he started a martial arts fighting and beating people up in class. And then I started co-working. So I'm all about bringing people together in collaboration, and he's all about beating people up. So
it makes sense. It works. Yeah.
Well, that's a good combination. Good combination, Gina. Bringing people together, and if they don't care, can beat them up and bring them together. That would be a good thing.
Exactly. Well, I've always been focused on bringing people together in community online. So I'm kind of taking that to this level of, we've been working with clients, and we still do. SocialKNX's is not going away. So SocialKNX's will house inside the Village workspace. So our team that's here in Denver will work out of the Village. And, you've got our website. And, so SocialKNX's will move into the Village workspace as one of the tenants there. So, but now, we help people build their business through SocialKNX's with all their marketing. And then in the Village, we'll help people build their business through bringing people together in community and collaboration. So
where did you buy this building or lease the building?
It's in Centennial, Colorado. So it's South Denver. So there's a lot of co-working spaces downtown Denver. We just came from about 30 miles. Well, it's at least 30, 45 minutes south of downtown. And I'm excited about that because there's, people are tired of commuting and there's tons of traffic here.
Yeah. So when are you going to go live with it?
Well, we've met with architects. We have a meeting every week now with the architect, and then we'll start construction this month, and it's supposed to open in September.
Oh wow, that's not that long away.
I know it feels long because we've been planning this for so long, but yeah, it's coming. It'll be here before we know it.
Do you have to pre-wire every office, put in all the telephone, cable, network, that whole thing?
Well, we're doing fiber to the building.
Oh, fiber.
So we'll have,
nice.
We'll have Wi-Fi in the building, super high speed, and then we'll have these automated lock system, which is so high tech now that you use your phone to get in the building. You just tap your phone to the door locks, and if you have a private office, it opens that. If you rent a conference room and it knows that you're supposed to be there at 8, you have the room from 8 to 5 today, the conference room will unlock. So yeah, it's a great system.
Interesting. Okay.
Automation
cool.
for managing. Yeah. So there's a lot, it's been fun because it's a lot to learn. And I feel like we get into a space where we really need to challenge ourselves and learn something new. And I was ready to learn a lot and dove in, took classes, went to conferences, and so it's been a lot of things happening. And in February, you mentioned I wrote my book.
Yeah, I love the title of it.
Yeah, I guess. Look, it's Down Under for Geoff. He can read the title this way.
That's right. Yes, I can read that. Yeah, that's it.
And then Rick can read it this way. Social media doesn't work unless you do. And that was a fun project because I wrote the book in 30 days. And I literally got this book out the door in probably 2 months flat because I had a client who pre-ordered 2,000 copies.
Oh, wow. Good.
So I said, I think I could have it done by then. And then I was thinking, what am I talking about? It was in November. And they had this conference that I was speaking at, and they wanted to have me bring copies of the book. And so I just sequestered myself at our house in Arizona and pounded it out.
So knowing your schedule, you wrote that between 2 and 4 in the morning, right?
For a lot of times, I was writing all day and night.
Were you really?
And yeah, I mean, I just was like, I can't do anything else. I have to get this done. So, which goes to prove when we set a goal for ourselves and we say, I'll write a book this year, you could do it in a month.
I've written 50 books in my life, and not one has yet seen light. So I know how it feels because I tend to get busy, and then I go, I'll write it later, or I'll write a bit. I've started a whole mess of books, and I haven't finished. One of these days, I write fast. It's just a question of getting to it.
Yeah, just blocking time out, and that's what I did. I just blocked time out.
Yep.
It's amazing though how well you do perform when you do have a goal set. Like I know myself doing video editing. I still haven't edited my photos or my videos, but if somebody gives me, can you edit this? You'll do it because they say, I want it next week. But if it's yours, I don't need it. I'll do it next week, and it never happens.
Yep.
So you have to have a deadline.
Yeah, and that's I knew I had to have it for this conference, and I just there was no pushing it back. I just had to have it done. So it really kind of taught me a lot of. Every month, even after the book was done, I thought, okay, for this co-working space, what has to be done? And I sat down and made a list of all the action items that had to get done. And then it really motivated me every day going, how many of these can I tick off and just get them done. And I think in any part of our business, we just have to, I think, set bigger, more aggressive goals, and we tend to get them done. But if we give ourselves 6 months to do it, it'll take 6 months to do it. So,
that's right. I've always said that we have something where I work is, and if you say I want it delivered tomorrow, you get it delivered tomorrow. But if somebody puts on their things, deliver it as soon as possible. Well, it's not possible for a week because I've got people who want their stuff tomorrow. So I said never put it down. Deliver as soon as possible. I want it tomorrow. Yeah. And this is now, Gina. Question with this because over here, I'm not sort of familiar with the shared space on that. So, could you explain to us what it is for people in Australia who don't? I'm sure we don't have that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, you do. I just went to a global co-working conference. So WeWork is a company that's very well known because they kind of put co-working on the map. But co-working is really a shared workspace. So there's been companies like Regis and Office Evolution, where it's a large office space with multiple small offices, and yet there's a common community space. So maybe there's a shared kitchen or a shared conference room area where there's events that are held there. But we're I always say there's two ways to look at co-working. Co-working as a business is leasing out office space, and that's when you think of WeWork, Regis, Office Evolution, but we're really focused on building a community, a place where people collaborate, come together, work where you're not working alone, and then we also happen to have offices. So we're really focused on building a community of people that, they might even end up sharing leads and working together and sharing things like maybe virtual assistant work and marketing help, and then within that space we have things that are unique. Like we have 5 big conference rooms, There's a classroom area for people to use for training. But then we also have a nap room, which I voted for that one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I wanted a nap room. We also have a mom's nursing room for new moms that might be bringing their baby into work for something. And then we have, what were some of the other? Oh, we have a podcast media room. So we'll have a room there that people can do green screen or have some backdrops and podcasting equipment in there. So kind of sharing the resources that we can with all of the members. And then it's people can lease spaces, and they're technically not leasing the space. They buy a membership. So they might buy the membership for 6 months. They might do a membership that's for an entire year. And during a downturn, so everyone keeps saying, I can't believe you're starting a business, and a recession will probably hit. But these type of spaces do well during downturns in the economy because people don't want to go sign a 5-year lease on their own somewhere. So they will go into a co-working space that's more flexible during a downturn. So
now does it happen? Now, Gina, does it happen that sometimes more than one person goes and rents space for maybe 2, 3, 4 people, or is it always usually just a one man, one woman show?
Yeah, it's a variety. So we have offices for single person offices. We have offices that'll hold 2 to 3 people. We have offices that'll hold 5 people. Right now we have a person interested, and they have a team of 8. And they want 4 offices and 2 desks in each of the 4 offices. So we could do that way as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of a new way to work out working.
Yeah. So with the membership, do you buy it and then do you say like book it like a meeting room, or do you have to say I'm using that for 6 months, that office, or do you just say on ad hoc, do through a phone app or something, say I want to book the office for the next 2 days and then not use it for another 4 weeks, or not?
Both. So you can have an office that's your private office, and it's yours to come and go however you'd like. Or you might be someone that says, I want to work in the space 10 days a month. Now that person who wants to just come in and kind of do a punch card type concept will be working at either a designated desk. So there's spaces that you can leave stuff at the desk and have a designated desk, or you can have a hot desk or a flex desk where you come in. Then it's more like those seats are kind of like when you're working at a coffee shop, where you can go in and sit anywhere in the space. And we have a coffee bar that's 20 feet long, and there's bar stools at the coffee bar. There's tables in that coffee bar. You can sit and work there, but the difference is there's lots of outlets. That's the downside. Going to work at a coffee shop, there's no privacy. I can't hold a quiet private meeting, and there's no outlets. So
now, from what you've learned, I've read that sometimes these kind of situations, the co-worker kind of thing, really spurs on creativity with a lot of people. Not all, but definitely with some. I don't know if you know Brian Jones. He's in the e-learning world. He's been doing that for quite a while. He enjoyed it. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was doing it in Santa Monica at a company. He thought it was great, and he said sometimes they would have meetings between people just for like thought sharing.
Yeah, there's just serendipitous moments that happen when you sit across from someone and you're working on things, and then we can have some almost guided serendipitous moments where we might have a lunch and learn where everyone shares things they're working on, and you might collaborate that way. Or we have an event that we're talking about, getting started hiring your first employee as a small business. But another thing that I find is our team, because we have 8 of us here just in Colorado that are working, but we all work remote. Yeah. And I said, it's lonely. And everyone that works from home says it's lonely. And there's a loneliness epidemic where people are more plugged in socially on social media, but they feel so lonely. And if only I could just sit next to other people while I was working and say, oh, this proposal's, really challenging. I just need to bounce an idea off and have someone. And what we found with our team is every time we come together as a team and work together, we get so much done, and there's that creativity is sparked by something they say reminds me of this, and we start building on that. And so I do believe that when you work together, you just have more of that creativity that happens. And there's a lot of people that go into an office with their team, and they don't have that.
Interesting. Isn't that funny? Yeah.
So you have to create it. And that's why I said I think our focus, number one, is creating community, and then secondary is renting office spaces. And we have companies that will just come in and rent probably the conference rooms, and they have their own office down the street, but all their conference rooms might be booked, and they're holding a big meeting. They need a place for 20 people, and we have a 20-person boardroom. So, it's things like that will financially make that work. But I do look at it and say, I just have this passion for helping small businesses build their business through marketing, through social media, and then through coming together and working together. So it's a fun venture, and I really think it's one of those trends that just keeps building. It's about 10 years old, the whole concept of co-working, and it's right now they say in the commercial real estate market, we've hit about 2% of commercial real estate business or spaces is co-working, and they're anticipating that to go to about 10%.
Well, it's funny. In the old days, they didn't call it co-working. You just leased small offices, and you had a big place that had, but there was none of that stuff like you're saying now, where there may be some collaboration, there's some training, there's coffee bars. That didn't exist. You just had a small little office, and half of them. And half of those were just boiler room operations. So you just kind of went, But that's different now. It's actually makes sense, and I hope that does really well for you. And are you going to be working in it?
Yeah, I am.
You are.
So it'll be interesting having to get up and get dressed every day.
That's right. What was that, about like a 45-minute commute for you?
Yeah, it's about 30 minutes from where I live.
That's not too bad.
It's not. It's only because we live up in the foothills. I wish we would live closer, but you have to sacrifice the commute. I'll have a longer commute, but we live in an area that's so pretty. So I go, well.
Yeah, that's always that juggle game.
Yeah,
so,
but
you've always been known as the geekster. You are,
techie thing.
Yep. What's new in your world of tech?
I do have to share an app because Geoff showed us his little puppies laying there a while ago. I went to the vet the other day, and my little one, Gus, was getting a tooth pulled. And then we started talking about things, and they said, do you want to participate in a trial that we have? We're testing an app, and it's called Whistle. The app is called Whistle. And it's a Fitbit for your dogs.
Oh, how funny.
Oh, goodness.
And so they gave me 2 of them to play with for free. And so each of the dogs, 2 out of my 3, have them on their collars. And it literally is a Fitbit for dogs. And then on the app, so what's really funny is I might be gone all day, and I wonder, do they just sleep all day when I'm gone? Or do they run around and chase me? Open up the app, it tells you how much activity they've had, and you set a goal. They say for your dog breed, their age, and their weight, this is how much activity they should have per day. So we laugh going, Spencer, you got to get motivated here. Like, you've got 2 minutes. Oh, there it is.
Oh, I'll forget that.
It's so funny. And so we got on this discussion of how many of us are using apps do they motivate us to work out more? I love MapMyWalk because when I go on a hike, go on a walk, you open up MapMyWalk, and it basically tells you how far you've gone if you're on a hike, and you can save that hike for going back later. But I was using one called MyFitnessPal, and you're supposed to set goals for yourself and put in what you eat every day and all this kind of tracking stuff. And I totally was a slacker, didn't input anything, and it actually sent me a reminder saying, do you want to just delete or do you want to put your thing hold? Because I was like, it's bad when even your app gives up on you.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you want to just give up now?
Yeah. I think mine would say rigor mortis is setting in. Hurry up,
Well, I think that's such a good thing, that Whistle, because like you said, yourself when you go and do a walk, you're doing a decent walk, but you don't know if your dog's had enough. Because I do that. You walk around and say, they're running around. You say, I've been there 20 minutes. Have they had enough? But at least that'll give you an idea. If they say, that size of breed, they need to have done this amount of exercise. And
now, you do realize that's the end of a dog's life. It's over.
It's over. I know. Right now, Spencer is cursing us because he's supposed to be getting at least 35 minutes of activity, and the last 2 days I get home about 3, and they'll say 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Oh.
Wow. Isn't Spencer's
Yes,
about
well,
8, right?
yeah.
8 or 9?
He's what?
Isn't he about 8 or 9?
No,
No,
they see
Spencer
they've moved.
Yeah, there's what my dogs do all day. Spencer's 7, and
Just 7?
He's 7 years old and he's 12 pounds, so he's little, but he needs a little more exercise. And so it does. I used to think, I'm sure while I'm gone they run around and chase each other, but not according to this. They don't. So it does motivate me to go, I should take them for a walk, because I was assuming they got a little more exercise during the day. I should take them for a walk at the end of the day. So yeah, that's pretty funny. So yeah, you know me, I'm always downloading every app there is, and I'm always playing with them and loving, I love testing out different apps. So that one we use a lot. That one works.
So where do you get the little Fitbit type thing for that whistle? Is it through Amazon or through somewhere else, or?
The vet had me sign up, and they sent them to me for free. But I think on that website, the whistle app, I'm assuming, because I said if I like it, I'll order a third one for our third dog, or I might just take Spencer's and then put it on Gus and see how Gus does. But yeah, I'm not sure if right now vets are handing them out to get more people using them for them to, and it's one of those newer things.
No, Gene, I figured it out. The vets are giving it to you, so you stress the dogs out and they heal them. It's a money-making scheme. I gotta get it.
Rick said, he said they're going to now start selling dietary plans for dogs.
Oh, no.
And all their diet dog food will spike in sales because of the Fitbit.
It's all over now. They figured out a new way to get money out of pets.
That's right.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I think they've got that down pat already. I think they get enough money out of us already. They don't need us. We'll pay anything. Anything that we have for our animals, we'll pay.
We do. And they do have a GPS tracker built into them. So if your dog is lost, you can see where they are, find my dog.
Well, in the old days, the dogs weren't kidding. They were running away.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to get out of this house. They're making me work out.
That's right. Now, one question I have for you guys, because it's another thing that I've been kind of obsessed with. I've had Alexa for quite a while. We've had one of the Alexa devices. Well, we have 3 Alexa devices, and one of them is the video. It's called Alexa Show. Do you guys listen to any Alexa flash briefings or?
I have a little bit, but I usually don't like their news sources, and they don't give you that many choices. So I was just gonna. So I like some of it, but I guess I haven't spent the time to control exactly what you hear and get rid of the stuff you don't want to hear. But they do give you some control over that.
Yeah, well, you can go in and choose. The hard part is content creators have to create the content, and I created one, got an Alexa briefing called Getting Geeky, but it's a huge commitment because you have to create a short little burst every single day. You have to load up 7 a day. Otherwise, people hear the same thing every day. So the news sources are pulling from the news that they have, and they're loading those every day. But not everyone has gotten on board as far as the content creators go. So the choices you have to listen to things. But what you can do is you can set up a sequence. So in the morning, as I'm feeding the dogs, I say, Alexa, good morning. And she knows I've set up, when I say good morning, Alexa kicks on and says, good morning, Gina, here's your news briefings. And it will rattle off, I think I have about 8 or 9, the top 10 things in tech that I need to know, the top headlines that I need to know from like USA Today or something, a money, kind of a financial briefing news, and then I have like an inspirational one. So you can set up all the briefings, and then at the end it tells me what the weather is in Colorado, and then it shuts off. So you can set up these sequences and say, every time I say this, play all my sequences. And so cool. The reason I've become just fascinated, I'm just interested at where this whole technology is going to take us as far as delivering content in these bite-sized pieces because they're short. The briefings are typically around 3 minutes or less. Some people will do a little bit longer. They might have a 10-minute, almost like a podcast. But most people don't have that kind of time in the morning because they're listening to Alexa while they're getting breakfast ready or while they're making their coffee or maybe at night before. So I'm interested in this whole technology of these devices, the audio devices, and where that's going to go, because Google, I have a Google one, I have a little Google mic, but I haven't been able to spend enough time to learn who's created the content for it, because it's different. When you create it for Alexa, it doesn't automatically get picked up at Google. You have to submit them differently to the development teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
How hard is it to become accepted as a content creator?
It wasn't hard. It was a little technical because it's like creating podcast content. You have to first go in and create an Alexa developer account, and then you create your briefing, and it has to be saved in a certain format of audio. Then you submit it to them to test and approve the topic. So they must be screening for something. And then you have to set up, kind of like setting up a podcast where you set up your channel art. You have to have all your description. They have to link it to a website. They test all that. And then once it went through, I think I got rejected twice, like saying this still had an error. I was missing, my artwork was in the wrong size. So I had to tweak a few things. So I think a typical person would have been frustrated by it, but I was like, okay, I got to learn this, because if we have a client that wants us to do this for them, I need to know what's involved. And so it was interesting going through the process. And then I got it set up on Google as well, but that was different. That had to go through Google Play like a podcast versus Alexa briefing was different than my podcast. I have my podcast on Libsyn hosting. Yeah. And then I had the Alexa briefings had to go on a different hosting company. So yeah, it was a little complicated, but I mean, within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it was approved.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah. Then I was just like, do I really want to be doing this kind of commitment of every single day? Because so far I only know of one person who found me on my Alexa briefing, came over to our Facebook page to join our group. So I started looking at going, does it pull new people into your business universe, And I wouldn't say the time is worth it, but will it be coming? I'm curious how many people are using these devices, because they're in so many homes. Geoff, do you have them in Australia?
Yes, but I haven't even gone there. I just think we're getting so damn lazy. And I think if I can't get up and press a button to play some music, if I can't do a lot of these things, I've gone Stone Age, Gina. I wake up in the morning. I have a cup of coffee and I go to work. And I do my work. I come home and I don't look at Twitter. I don't look at Facebook. I've cancelled my Twitter account. I've had enough of it. I want to talk to people. I used to worry all the time. I'm talking to, I've got to do this. I've got to check my Twitter feed. I've got to check the Facebook. I've got to check my emails. I've got to do this, but I've got to get this briefing right. I've got to do this. And I thought, what for? And so, and as I said, and I think we're trying to you've got to be more energetic. And so we keep having all these things to make it easier. Alexa, light on, or something like that. Play music. And I thought, if I can't get up, and I've got to get up off my backside, press the button, switch it off. Or if I can't do this, and I refuse to get involved in that. And I think we're going to go full circle. We're going to do all this, and the world's just going to explode. And everybody's going to say, let's just talk to people and do that. So,
now, Gina, we have a new program we're developing. It's called Restrain Geoff. Every time he tries to get up, it holds him. No.
Yeah.
It is funny, Geoff, because you're right. I have it where I can say, Alexa, turn on the lights in the basement, turn on the lights in the living room, turn on all the lights in the house. I can say, play whatever on my Spotify channel, whatever music. What else do I have hooked up to it? Oh, I do like, as I'm cooking and I run out of something, I go, add this to my shopping list, and it adds it to my shopping list. So I have gone the other way. I've tried to integrate and use as many of they call them skills, as possible to learn what it's doing. But I agree. I feel like this year, I kept saying, this is the year that we have to take the technology and find ways to get personal. We have to go back to who are the 10 people, not who are the 1,000 people. Who are the 10 people that I actually have conversations with on social media?
That's
and do we know? And I think brands have to do that as well. They have to say, are we getting personal enough to deliver information that Geoff is interested in, that Rick is interested in? Do I know enough about you, or do I pause to say, thank you so much for sharing our brand's content. I want to buy you a cup of coffee. I want to know you better. And it's hard for a lot of brands because geolocation comes into play. But I think you're right, Geoff. We're going through this period of we're getting burned out on all technology. I mean, my daughters, I find it interesting. I'm still so into every tech thing because of what I do. And here I have a 28-year-old and a 24-year-old who use a paper calendar.
Really?
They don't know how to use Google Calendar. It makes me insane. Not that they don't know how, but they don't like to. I have forced them to use it. I'm like, I've invited you. It's on your Google Calendar. They'll take it and they'll write it in their paper calendars.
I used to work for Dayrunner. Do you remember Dayrunner and Daytimer and all those? I worked for Dayrunner. They were the second largest of all the calendar and time management systems. And they're still surviving. They're all owned by one company now. I forgot who it was.
They're very retro. It's very retro, and there's some very niche companies that have created beautiful planners. Erin Condren is one that my daughter loves, that have stickers and gel pins, and it's more of an arts and crafts project every day. But I do think some of those things are coming back, that we like the tactile writing in paper. And
people still like going to Staples.
The funny thing, Gina, is like we say for writing, like we do so much. Like I use OneNote as a thing, and I've used it for quite some years now. But then I realize the only time I pick up a pen is when somebody's leaving and you've got to sign a card, and then I've got to practice. I thought, how do you write? And then you said, I said, come back a bit later because I've got to have a little practice. How do you do their name?
That's so funny. That's so true.
Or addressing
and I have to have a practice.
I don't know how to do it. My handwriting looks like it. Yeah.
That is so funny. The world is changing. Every time we look, it's different. So now it's changing for us because we've been around a while. But if you look at really young people, they go, why would you write by hand? It's like, why would you do anything?
It's very retro.
And there was somebody was saying the other day as well, like they were saying that the parents kept saying, I'm going to tape this. And they said, what do you mean, Mum, Dad? I'm going to tape this show? What do you mean?
Yep.
Tape. They said, he said, we mean record. You mean record it? Yes. No, we mean, what's tape?
Isn't that funny?
It makes you feel really older. But I must admit, things like records are coming back, so they know that. We know what records are.
Why would you want a record again? I don't know. But anyway.
We even say rewind. I'm going to rewind. What does that word mean?
Rewind. That's true. Yep. I remember when he rented videos. Be kind. Rewind.
Be kind. Yeah. Rewind. See, that's what's happened to the world today. We got rid of be kind. Rewind. Everyone got.
Oh, that's so true. Well, that music that we're hearing we're done. It's been over 30 minutes already, believe it or not.
Harold's hints. That's Harold to hint us to say, get off.
Yeah.
He's going, rewind. Rewind. This whole show.
Yep. Well, Gina, as always, it's a pleasure to see you and to catch up. We need to catch up other times too.
But it's so fun to go to you.
Say hi to Kirk for us. And actually, are you still doing any of the shows anymore? Like you're not doing Devlin or any of that anymore right now?
I do my regular podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast, The Journey, and actually, I'm looking at starting another podcast all on marketing.
So, now, what we'll have to do, Rick, Rick, what we'll have to do, we'll have to have a conference in her shared space in Colorado.
That'd be fun.
And have a meetup at the shared space, have a booking thing, and we just have a geek meetup there. So
That'd be fun.
at the opening of the shared space and that. So that would be great.
I agree. I'm all for it. I'll bring the
and then
coffee.
have that. Yeah, that would be good. That would be a great a great idea to do that.
That's good. Well, anyway, Gina, we'll have information below for people if they want to get a hold of you or contact you regarding the space or regarding SocialKNX's. So keep that
Would
going.
love to connect with everybody, and it was great seeing you both. And I
Yes,
look forward to
great to see
seeing
you.
Over and Under again next time.
That sounds great.
Gina,
Well-
you said we all look the same. I was just looking back at some of the one. You look younger today than you did
You
on
do.
the first.
I was thinking that too. You
on
look
the
great.
first show. I was
Yeah.
looking on the one back in 2011.
No, you look great. Your
and
face
you look
looks
younger.
great.
You look younger today than you did in 2011. And I thought,
That's because your eyesight is getting worse. That's the beauty of it. As your eyesight gets better, I look better. That's how it works. That's why I'm still married. That's how I stay
well, you'll be
married.
talking.
Oh, that's funny. Well, anyway, have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next week. And Gina, you take care, and we'll see you soon.
Bye for
Bye.
now.
Bye-bye. And that's a wrap.
And that's a